Here is your information for the second half of Chapter 7, Sections 3 and 4 that you need to be aware of. First of all, for the quiz, on page 187, the law of supply is demonstrated. Make sure you understand that when you're talking about the law of supply, the two arrows go in the same direction, price and quantity supplied. When the price is going up, suppliers will produce more of a particular good, and this is driven by profit incentive. They're going to produce more because they want to make more profit. Make sure you know the supply curve on page 188 goes uphill from left to right. Make sure you know on page 190 that the determinants of supply, if any one of those are present in a market, it will cause a change in supply, a large change that will result in a whole new supply curve. If the determinants aren't present, then supply can change a small amount, and that would be a change in quantity supplied. Okay, on page 192, you need to be aware of the law of diminishing returns. This is a law that business operators need to be aware of, that states that at some point, if you keep adding factors of production to your production situation, eventually you're going to reach a point where the returns that you get begin to diminish. And the example that I gave in class, the whatchamacallit factory where they have 10 workers, and then they add an 11th worker and things keep going well, then they add a 12th worker and their returns begin to diminish slightly. That is the point where returns are diminishing, and the business operator needs to be aware of this so that they can react accordingly and not continue to shrink their returns over time.
Mr. Mangles, dial extension 1001 for a message.
On page 195, you need to know the equilibrium point. It's where the supply and demand curves cross. You need to know what the equilibrium point represents. It represents a point in a market where both the supplier and the consumer are happy with the price, the quality of the product, the profit being made, and they go ahead and buy the product through free choice. On page 197, you need to understand shortages and surpluses. A shortage is where the price falls below the equilibrium price, and people will want more of it, and it will cause a shortage. This usually happens quickly, and it's hard to anticipate, hard for businesses to react to. And the opposite, if the price goes above the equilibrium point, then people will quit wanting as much of the product all of a sudden, and you'll have a surplus. Okay, then you need to look at page 202, questions 12, 13, 14, 16, and 18. These are questions that were on your pretest, and they will be on your quiz, and they will be on your unit test from Chapter 3.